I'm going to try something a little bit different here today on the channel, a fantasy draft rebuild. I've decided to use the Carolina Panthers, who are a base 77 overall. We're going to see if we can build a better team through the fantasy draft, obviously, and see how long it takes us to win a Super Bowl. I'll probably give myself about 5 seasons in this video. But let's go ahead and jump right into things. Start your fantasy draft, start drafting. Where are we picking? We pick at 18. The Eagles took Justin Jefferson. Can I pause this and look through and see who's taken who? It does not look like I can see who was drafted in the first 17 spots, so let's see who's available for us. Okay, you've got guys like Aaron Donald, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Trent Williams. Who's available at quarterback? Tom Brady's still here, Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr. Not a lot of young quarterbacks left. Baker Mayfield's here. Justin Fields, if we wanted to go with like a rookie to start things. Jalen Hurts, a 74 overall. But do I want to go with just getting our quarterback now and go Joe Burrow? 87 throw power, 85 deep accuracy, 95 medium accuracy, and he is a star dev trait. I'm thinking we go with Joe Burrow here with the first pick, but I'm going to look around for just a second to make sure I'm not missing anyone that I would really want. I looked around for a minute, and to me, quarterback is the most valuable position on the team, so we're going to draft Joe Burrow with our first round pick. So to my knowledge, you cannot see who was drafted before. I really wish I could see who was going where. I guess we'll check that later, but let's see what we got now. I don't want to lose out on like a superstar receiver, but there are still a lot of pretty solid receivers here, so I don't think it's going to be receiver in this round. Running back, it looks like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey is gone, but we have Joe Mixon left, Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, Austin Eckler. I think there's still a lot of talent left there. I'm thinking I should go defense here. And I'm thinking with our second round pick, I don't know if it's wise to take a corner in this round, but I'm going to take Denzel Ward, who is a 90 overall with star dev trait. He has 95 speed, 91 man, 88 zone. So yeah, we're going to go Denzel Ward here with this pick. So just a fair warning, I've never actually done a fantasy draft in this game, so I don't know when teams start to take certain positions. So if I massively screw up, I apologize. All right, so in the third round, once again, I don't want to miss out on a really good receiver, but I still think we are fine. There's still a lot of talent here at wide receiver. And I think defense is going to be a big thing that we're going to need, obviously. I think here in the third round, I'm going to go Shaq Barrett, an 89 overall with a superstar dev trait, and we get our star linebacker. And the Ravens just took Jalen Hurts in the 4th round, so I think quarterbacks are finally going off the board. None of them had really been going. And no, they passed on a lot of people here, but yeah, it looks like all the young guys are pretty much gone. And let's go ahead and keep building up the defense. I'm going to take Daron Payne here in the, I think, 4th round. Star dev trait, 87 overall. Should be a pretty solid pick for us. All right, I've gone defense last few rounds. Let's see if we can just shore up the offensive line so Joe Burrow doesn't die. We're going to go Jordan Mailata here, a 24-year-old, 82 overall with a star dev trait. And because I feel like some of these middle linebackers are starting to get taken, we're going to go Deion Jones, 26 years old, star dev trait, 84 overall. And we have our second linebacker. So a lot of the defensive ends that are left are actually pretty old. If we go and look at the left end, Akeem Hicks is over 30, I believe. He is 31. Melvin Ingram is going to be 32. Brandon Graham is going to be 33. So I think these guys will be here a little bit longer. But looking at Leonard Williams, he is only 27 with a star dev trait. So we are going to get our first edge rusher. And I'm going to need to get more linebackers. And it says I reached, which I have not even been checking the draft analysis. And rounding out our linebacking core, we have Shaq Thompson, who is, 27 years old with a star dev trait. We're going to go ahead and get our last linebacker here. I may have waited too long to get a really good offensive line, but I still think there are some solid players here. And I'm trying to see if we can find our other tackle. You know what? We're going to take Taylor Lewan, another left tackle. We will move him to the right side. So we have our 2 tackles to protect Joe Burrow. And next, we're going to get our center, J.C. Treader, 84 overall, 30 years old with a star dev trait still. Trying to make sure Joe Burrow doesn't get absolutely murdered. All right, round 11, I think it is finally time to get Joe Burrow a receiver here. So let me look through these guys and see who's the best left. Okay, so here in round 11, I'm finally going to take a wide receiver. We're going to take Odell Beckham Jr., 86 overall, 28 years old with a star dev trait. And we have our wide receiver 1. He's a little old, but I want to make sure we have a solid secondary. So let's go ahead and take Casey Hayward Jr. He's 31 years old, but still has a star dev trait, 88 speed, 90 man coverage, and we now have two really solid corners. And with our next pick, we're going to add to our secondary with Quandre Diggs, free safety, 83 overall, still a star dev trait, only 28 years old, and it says it's actually a good pick there. All right, I've been looking around here for a minute, but I think the best bet is going to be to get Burrow another receiver, so let's go Robert Woods. And with our next pick here in round 16, I'm going to go ahead and finish off our secondary by taking Anthony Harris, who is a scheme fit with a star dev trait and an 80 overall. All right, so we are now 16 rounds into this thing, and we don't really have a ton of picks on offense, but I like the way our defense is shaping up. We still need to get a left end and another defensive tackle. I probably waited too long to try to get those, but hopefully the rest of the defense can make up for that. And I was hoping he would last another round. Sterling Shepard was here last round, but he was pretty far down the list, but he's only like 28, and he had a star dev trait, so I was hoping to be able to grab Sterling Shepard, but it looks like he is gone. All right, to try to get our other defensive end, I'm looking at Jonathan Greenard here. The only reason I'm really looking at him is I know he develops into a solid player thanks to my Houston Texans franchise. So we're going to take Jonathan Greenard here. Maybe a big reach, but I think he will develop into a pretty solid defensive end for us. All right, I am finally going to finish off our offensive line here, or at least partially. I'm going to take David DeCastro. He is old. He is 31 years old, but he has an 81 overall. And honestly, we need to really make sure Joe Burrow has some time to throw. One thing I wish you could see on this screen is their age. That'd be pretty handy to have, especially since it looks like the CPU kind of prioritizes age over a lot, because there are still some really good players overall wise in this, like Melvin Gordon's still an 87, but obviously Melvin Gordon is 28 years old with a normal dev trait. So in a couple years, he's going to start taking those attribute hits. So the CPU doesn't really want him early. So it would just be nice if we could have the actual ages on the screen. That way I don't have to like click to see how old Jason Verrett is, because I don't remember. And I clicked on Jason Verrett just to see how old he was, but he's only 30 years old. He's 83 overall, 91 speed. I know he gets injured a lot in real life. We can try to hope that EA doesn't like really screw us with that, but he has 82 man, 85 zone. I think we're going to take him as our like slot corner, and I think now we have three really solid corners. I still have not taken a running back, so we may look at that pretty soon, but I think there's still a couple solid options here. All right, he is 30 years old, but we're going to go ahead and take Zach Ertz, tight end, 84 overall, normal dev trait, but it gives Burrow another pretty good option to throw to. I could have taken Ertz probably a little bit later, but I wanted to make sure we had a pretty solid safety valve for Burrow to throw to. And finally, I'm going to finish the offensive line with Roger Saffold III, 82 overall. He is pretty old. He is 33. So after this season, we will definitely have to look at drafting or signing a new offensive lineman. And we are finally going to take our running back. I'm going to take Chris Carson, 84 overall, star dev trait, 26 years old. And he should be a pretty solid option for this team. I don't know how much of the CPU I'm going to let draft this. I don't imagine I'll do all of the draft. I could end up doing all of the draft, but I wanted to definitely make sure I got all the starters. So we don't have our slot receiver yet, and I'm looking at some of the receivers available. I kind of wish Quez Watkins was still here. I saw him a couple rounds ago, but he was pretty far down, so I thought they would pass on him as well, and they did not. You know, he is 31 years old, but I think we're going to go T.Y. Hilton here. He still has 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 88 catching, and some good route running abilities. So yeah, we're going to take T.Y. Hilton, and I imagine he'll just play our slot receiver. And we're finally going to finish our entire front seven by taking Malik Collins here in round 24. Only a 73 overall, normal dev trait, but he is only 26 years old and is a scheme fit. And obviously defensive tackle will probably be something I look to improve after the first season or so. Philadelphia really had the choice to avoid Jalen Reagor and took him anyway. That's nice. I have not been paying attention to backup quarterback, and it looks like all of these solid options are pretty much gone. Another thing I wish you could do is sort by certain ratings. Like, I wish I could put in, like, whenever you're in free agency, you can sort by speed. Why can't I do that here? All right, and we're going to take our backup running back here, Joshua Kelly. He's only a 70 overall, but he has 89 speed, 87 acceleration. I think he's a pretty solid backup running back. And here we're going to take, I think, our fastest receiver. Now we're going to take Jamal Agnew, who is only 26 years old, a 73 overall with 93 speed. So I realize I may have messed up by not drafting like any depth on defense at all, but I'm going to hope the EA is nice to me and doesn't hit me with the injury bug and everyone die. With our next pick, I'm going to get our backup tight end, Dan Arnold. He is the youngest tight end, I believe, up here that is above 70 overall, so we're just going to go ahead and take him. All right, another pick, because this guy is one of the younger guys that is in the 70 overalls here. We're going to take Billy Turner, right tackle, 73 overall. That is the first right tackle we've drafted, but I took 2 left tackles, so we're going to move the other one to that side. So if Burrow gets injured, we're going to be screwed anyway. So we're going to take TikTok legend Kurt Benkert for our backup quarterback. Yeah, this was probably a bad pick, but it's fine, because if Burrow goes down, we're screwed anyway. All right, and here in round 30, we are going to take Tony Jefferson, a backup strong safety that's 76 overall. Really, one of the only reasons I'm taking him is because he went to Oklahoma. Okay, so we did the first 30 rounds, and from here, I will go ahead and let the CPU draft the rest of our team. Well, for starters, we're immediately a better team. I think they were a 75 or a 77 overall to start things. Now they're an 84. Let's see if we can tell what the CPU did here. So it looks like they drafted Nate Sudfeld to be our third string. Okay. At running back, it looks like they took Le'Veon Bell, so he will be our backup, followed by Josh Kelly and then Darwin Thompson. Fullback is going to be Le'Veon Bell for some reason. Wide receiver, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham, T.Y. Hilton, Jamal Agnew. Lynn Bowden looks like someone they took, and Antonio Callaway. Tight end is Zach Ertz and Dan Arnold, followed by Josh Oliver, who the CPU drafted. Here is what I'm concerned with what they did. So it looks like they did draft some more linemen, which is good for us. At center, we have an 84 overall. At right guard, an 81. Right tackle, an 82. Taylor Lewan. At left end, this is going to be the weak one here, and I want Jonathan Greenard above Carlos Dunlap there, just so Greenard can get some experience. Right end is Leonard Williams. At defensive tackle, we have Deron Payne and Malik Collins. Left outside linebacker, Shaq Barrett, and it looks like they drafted a couple backups there. Middle linebackers, Deion Jones. We drafted Blake Martinez. It took Vontaze Burfict and Austin Carlatro. I don't even know where Vontaze Burfict is in the league right now. He's not still in Pittsburgh, I don't think. Right outside linebacker, Shaq Thompson. If he goes down, we are in trouble. At defensive back, we have Denzel Ward and Casey Hayward and Jason Verrett. And then it looks like it took Garyon Conley, who I thought about taking. And also Jason Pinnock, whoever the hell that is. At free safety, we have Quandre Diggs, and at strong safety, we have Anthony Harris. Who did they take at kicker? It didn't draft a kicker. All right, that's a problem. Luckily, we still have a lot of roster space here, so I can sign a kicker here in the preseason, and then we will have to make some cuts, but these kickers are probably going to be pretty awful. Okay, they're not too bad. We have Chris Boswell, Graham Gano, we got Koo, and we got Daniel Carlson. All right, who's got the highest? We're going to go with Daniel Carlson. He's got 89 kick accuracy. I think that might be, well, Graham Gano, but he's old. Let's go Chris Boswell, actually. He's only in his 8th year. He's only 30 years old. We'll go ahead and select Chris Boswell to be our kicker. And then at punter, we have, why not, AJ Cole. That's who I have in my Texans franchise. He's pretty good for us, so we'll just go ahead and bring him in. Let's see, who are some of the top free agents left? We have Kyle Juszczyk, who's a fullback, Emmanuel Sanders, Patrick Peterson, Danny Amendola. Who's the fastest one left? Marquise Goodwin. I almost drafted him, but he was pretty old and only 5'9", so I didn't think it was a grand idea. Also, just to save some time here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on weekly training to go to the CPU, and we're going to do scout college players to go to the CPU. We will just see what it scouted at the end of the season. Probably a horrible idea, but that's what I'm going to do. All right, we are through the preseason now. We are into the regular season. I'm going to simulate a few games, and I will see you guys at about the halfway point. We are here in week 8, and we are 5-2 and winning the division. All right, so we've immediately improved the Carolina Panthers. Let's check out some midseason stats. Burrow has 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 61% completion percentage. Rushing-wise, Carson has about 300 yards, Bell has 270, 3 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns. Burrows ran for 1, and Josh Kelly has ran for 1. What about receiving? Odell Beckham, 38 catches, 5 touchdowns. Robert Woods, 23, 4 touchdowns. Ertz has 2, Hilton has 2, and Le'Veon Bell has 1. Sadly, Madden Simulation doesn't really get the other receivers involved because EA is pretty shit at this. Let's look at defense. Tackles, it looks like Deion Jones is leading the team. What about sacks? Shaq Barrett has 3, and Carlos Dunlap has 2, even though I put Jonathan Greenard above him. I guess the CPU has decided to change that. Interceptions, Deion Jones has 2, and Denzel Ward has 1. It looks like right now we have the 6th ranked offense in terms of yards, and in defense we have the 26th. Okay, that's not great. But next, I'm going to simulate all the way to the playoffs, so we will see if we actually end up winning the division or if we completely fall apart. So we jump to the end of the season where we finished 13-4, easily winning the division because the Saints were second at 7-10. Let's check out this playoff bracket. Looks like we are the 2 seed because the Giants are the 1 seed. And the 1 seed over in the AFC is the Raiders. So we'll have to go check out what some of these teams look like. But we will do that at the end of the season. For now, let's go ahead and go week by week to see if we can win a Super Bowl in season 1. We do manage to win the first playoff game, but there is an injury here. Let's see who this is. Okay, it looks like we have a few injuries. Odell Beckham has a dislocated knee, Anthony Harris is out, Le'Veon Bell is out, and now Shaq Barrett is out for at least this week. Okay, well, let's see if we can manage to beat the Seahawks here in the second round. We get bounced in the second round 28-10. It looks like the AFC is going to be the 1 seed Raiders against the 2 seed Steelers, and the 1 seed Giants are taking on the 3 seed Seahawks. And the Super Bowl is going to be between the 2 1 seeds as the Giants beat the Seahawks 30-24 and the Raiders win 24-21. And I just noticed that it looks like our overall has dropped a bit thanks to those injuries. We were like an 84 or an 85, now we're an 80. But before we simulate the Super Bowl, I will go look and see what all the season stats were, and then we will check to see all the yearly awards before we advance to the offseason. Okay, Joe Burrow had a really solid season. 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He played really well. Rushing-wise, Chris Carson, 942 yards, 5 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell had 7 touchdowns. Kelly got 3. Burrow ran in for 2. And Josh Oliver, the tight end, ran in for 1. I assume he was lining up at fullback there. Receiving-wise, Odell Beckham, 88 catches, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. Robert Woods, 67 catches for 917 yards and 12 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton, 57, 743, and 5 touchdowns. Ertz caught 4, Bell caught 3, Chris Carson got 2, and Dan Arnold caught 1. On defense, leading the team in tackles is Deion Jones, just because I think simulation loves middle linebackers doing that. For sacks, though, Deron Payne ended with 9, Carlos Dunlap got 8, Shaq Barrett 7.5, Leonard Williams got 5. What about interceptions? Denzel Ward ended with 4, Deion Jones got 3, Shaq Thompson got 3, Tony Jefferson got 2, Quandre Diggs got 1, and Garyon Conley got 1. Jumping over to the league leaders, Colin Kaepernick ends with 5,200 yards as he now plays quarterback for the Chargers. 27 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence is now the Buccaneers quarterback, 5,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. This would have been his rookie year, and that's a lot of picks for a rookie, but it still doesn't break Peyton Manning's record. Patrick Mahomes is now the quarterback for the Bears. That's gotta hurt Bears fans, considering that could have been an actual reality since they passed on him. 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Tua is the Chiefs quarterback with 33 touchdowns, 13 picks. Russell Wilson back in Seattle. Okay. Jared Goff is the Raiders quarterback. So the number 1 seed in the AFC is led by Jared Goff. Now we're just looking for the Giants quarterback. It is not Matt Ryan. He plays for Washington. Deshaun Watson is a Saint. Okay, don't take that the way it sounds. Deshaun Watson plays for the New Orleans Saints. Justin Herbert is a Falcon. Trey Lance, 43 touchdowns, 16 interceptions as a rookie for the Lions. Daniel Jones is a Bill. Jameis Winston is an Eagle. Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield is a Dolphin. Where is the Giants quarterback? We're seeing... Oh, that's weird. But we're seeing a lot of stuff here, but no quarterback for the Giants. Do I just need to go actually look at their depth chart? Because there's no way. I had to have passed him and just not noticed. Okay, there he is. It's Lamar Jackson, 33 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Yeah, I just scrolled right past him. Josh Allen's the quarterback for the Patriots. That would be weird to see, not gonna lie. Rushing wise, Derrick Henry leads the league in yards as he is now the running back for the Steelers with 1,800 yards and 24 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt for the Giants, 1,617 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt and Lamar Jackson, that is a deadly combo. Nick Chubb is the running back for the Titans. He gets 14 touchdowns. McCaffrey is a Bronco. Jonathan Taylor is a Brown. Alvin Kamara is a Colt. Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott is a Jaguar. He only got 5 touchdowns on 1,300 yards. Dalvin Cook is the running back in Houston, and Joe Mixon is in Baltimore. The other off seasons probably won't be this long just because I won't be scrolling through to see where all these star players are playing. I just like to do that because it's interesting to me. But DJ Moore is in New Orleans. He had 111 catches leading the league, 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns. What about receiving yards? Deebo Samuel with 1,617 touchdowns. There were several people with 100 receptions. Juju is in Tampa with Trevor Lawrence. Deebo Samuel, obviously we just saw as a Bear. They had 2 100 receptions players. That's a little insane. 106 and 102. It's even a little bit more insane that the 102 was Donovan Peoples-Jones. Devontae Adams has 100 catches, along with Michael Thomas, who was also a Steeler, along with Derrick Henry, who led the league in touchdowns. It will be Deebo Samuel with 17. Not really a shock. He did have Patrick Mahomes, I believe, at quarterback. So, yeah, the two guys that led the league in touchdown receptions had Patrick Mahomes at QB, and then Odell Beckham had 15, tied for second, and Jacoby Myers had 15. Defensively, leading the league in tackles is Dante Hightower with 156. What about sacks? Aaron Donald with 24.5 in Vegas. Interceptions, Darius Slay is a giant. That hurts to see as an Eagles fan. 7 interceptions. Stephon Gilmore had 6. Jimmy Ward had 6. And then Murphy Bunting, Marshawn Lattimore, Zach Cunningham, and Shaquille Griffin all got 5. It looks like we're the 7th best offense, at least in terms of yards. What about defense? We are the 6th. Okay, so we had a top 10 team, almost a top 5 team, but we just couldn't get it done against Seattle. And just real quick, we'll look at some yearly awards. Russell Wilson wins MVP. Coach of the Year goes to Joe Judge. AFC Offensive Player of the Year is Derrick Henry. Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald. Rookie is Javonte Williams, who now plays for the Raiders. Defensive Rookie is Micah Parsons, who is on Miami. Best QB goes to Kyler Murray, who is in Cincinnati. Best running back is Derrick Henry. Best wide receiver, Michael Thomas. O-line's Trent Williams. D-line's Aaron Donald. Best linebacker, Rashawn Gary. Best DB, Jimmy Ward. Best kicker, Alex Kessman, and I have no idea who that is. He's a 65 overall kicker and managed to win that award. So on the NFC side, Offensive Player of the Year goes to Russell Wilson. Defensive Player goes to Khalil Mack. Offensive Rookie goes to Trey Lance. Not really a shock. We saw his stats. Defensive Rookie goes to JOK. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. Best QB, Russell Wilson. Best running back, Kareem Hunt. Best wide receiver, Deebo Samuel. Best O-line, Teron Armstead. Best D-line, Myles Garrett, who is a Cowboy. Best linebacker is Khalil Mack. Best DB is Darius Slay. And best kicker is Ryan Suckup. In what looks like a very, very boring Super Bowl, the Raiders, led by Jared Goff, get the win 10-7. And we have 17 players that want to negotiate a new contract. We will start with AJ Cole. We're just going to try to lock you down to like a 4-year deal. So you are a Panther until you are 30. He takes that deal. And Chris Boswell, you're 31. We'll lock you to a 3-year deal. And are you going to take that? He wants to play for a new team next year. All right, fine. We'll have to look for a kicker. Not looking at bringing back Le'Veon Bell. He's 30 years old now. Vontaze Burfict dropped like 4 overall points. He's not coming back. Not bringing back Willie Wright. Brandon Dunn. Should we bring him back? He's a 67 overall. He only wants a 1-year deal, but he's 29. I don't think we're going to bring back any of these guys, to be completely honest here. I don't even think I drafted any of these guys. I think this is all the CPU's drafting. Real fast, I will look through some of the retired players. We have Alex Mack, Ndamukong Suh, Richie Incognito, Andrew Whitworth, Calais Campbell, Nate Solder, Jason Peters. We're just seeing if there are anyone that plays for the Panthers that decided to retire. I think I can sort it by just my team, but looking through, Joe Webb retired. Is he not really retired yet? I remember Joe Webb one time like carved the Eagles up on like Thursday Night Football or something like that. I think it was whenever we had Vic at quarterback in that like 2010 season, and we somehow lost to the Vikings on like Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football or something. But Roethlisberger retires, as he was not signed all season. It looks like Larry Fitzgerald retires because he was not signed all season. Deshaun Jackson has retired. Well, that is it. So we do have $124 million in cap space, but I imagine there's not going to be a lot of big name free agents here. And yeah, there's really not anybody, so I don't know if we'll actually sign anyone. Here is the only free agent acquisition we made because we lost our kicker, so I had to sign a new one. But that is it. There was really no one else in free agency that would really improve the team that much. I have not looked at the other mock drafts at all, but we'll go ahead and take a look at this one. It looks like a QB will be going number 1. I don't remember who Miami's quarterback is, so I don't know if that's a realistic pick or not. It looks like Kevin James has made a career change and is going to left tackle, and it looks like he will be picked number 5 by Philadelphia most likely. Where are we projected to pick? It's going to be pretty late. Philly does have 3 first-round picks like they do in real life, or like they did. They traded 1 for A.J. Brown. And as an Eagles fan, I am hype as hell about that. And I may scroll right past this. No, we are expected to take running back Dante Parks. I don't know about that. Let's go ahead and start the NFL draft. With the first overall pick after the league got completely reset, the Dolphins take quarterback Matthew Lovell out of Arizona State. Let's go take a look at their roster. Okay, they have an 80 overall Baker Mayfield, so this pick kind of makes sense, honestly. He's 27 years old, only an 80 overall. As a Sooner fan, I absolutely love Baker Mayfield, but that's not the worst pick they could have made. And the Chiefs, with the second pick, take defensive back Leon Fletcher out of South Carolina. All right, and we have made a big trade. We have traded our first round pick this year, our first round pick next year, and a third next year to move up to number 3 because I saw a defensive tackle that I wanted to take. He is at the top of the class, and we are going to go ahead and just take him now. If I can remember his name, it is Tevin Dickens. He has A block shedding, B finesse move, A power move, and B tackle. In terms of strength, he was first at the combine, 4th at his pro day. And here are all of his skills. We're going to go ahead and take defensive tackle Tevin Dickens, who is a hidden dev trait with 90 strength. And then we do not have another pick until the 3rd round because apparently Carolina at one point traded their 2nd round pick. Well, let's see where the Falcons go. They go Alan Bruce. And then the Eagles take Kevin James, left tackle out of Michigan. All right, here in the 3rd round, I'm looking at running back Lonnie Hamilton out of Oklahoma. He ran a 4.55, but he has A trucking and A stiff arm. So we're going to take him here in the 3rd round to try to get a backup running back for, I think, yeah, Chris Carson's our running back. And here in the 4th round with pick 20, I'm looking at center Elijah Franklin with A pass block, B run block, C impact block, and we need a backup center, so we will take him. And here in the 5th round, I'm looking at right tackle Eddie Clausen out of Cal. For skills, he has B injury. I don't know why I said that one first. B impact block, D run block, and D pass block. But he is first in strength, so I think he's going to be a project player. But we're going to need some of those. And then here in the 6th round, defensive back Kyle Vick out of Syracuse. B block shedding, C press, C tackle, C zone, and C kick return. And then his 40 time was a 4.45 and then a 4.4 at his pro day. So we'll go ahead and draft Kyle Vick. And we are now here at the end of the 7th round with pick 28. And left tackle Quincy Booth, his projection was round 3 to 4. He had a pretty mediocre combine, only 17th in bench reps, but had a much better pro day. And then his skills, he has D lead block, but C pass block finesse, C run block power, A stamina, C awareness. We're going to take Quincy Booth as a backup left tackle. And here is the recap of our draft class. Defensive tackle Tevin Dickens is obviously the key player here. 78 overall, hidden dev trait, and he has 90 strength, 81 block shedding, 83 power moves. Immediately is going to be our number 2 defensive tackle right beside Deron Payne. Lonnie Hamilton is 68 overall, not great. We did not really hit at all later in the draft. So I let the CPU handle the entire preseason for this, and apparently like the entire practice squad got signed week 1. That's great. Injury report, we are missing Deion Jones and Jordan Jenkins to start the season, but we should have everyone else. So jumping to mid-season, we are once again 5-2, but this time we are not ahead in the division as the Saints are 5-1. It looks like we have the 6th ranked offense in the NFL, and what about our defense? It is ranked 32nd. Are you kidding me? Well, Burrow is having one terrific year. 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Rushing-wise, Chris Carson, 494 yards and 6 touchdowns. Josh Kelly has 4. Receiving-wise, Odell Beckham, 29 catches and 3 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton, though, 34 catches and 9 touchdowns. Robert Woods with 4. Ertz has not caught a touchdown. Chris Carson caught 1. Joshua Kelly and Dan Arnold. On defense, Shaq Thompson is leading the team in tackles with 47. What about sacks? Jonathan Greenard has 7. Shaq Barrett has 6.5. Shaq Thompson has 2. Tevin Dickens has 2. Carlos Dunlap has 1. Leonard Williams has 1. And then Denzel Ward, Jason Verrett, and Malik Collins all have half of 1. What about interceptions? Casey Hayward with 4 picks, Denzel Ward with 2, Deion Jones has 1, Anthony Harris has 1, and Quandre Diggs has 1. So last season at the midway point, we were also 5-2, and our defense was pretty low ranked, but then by the end of the season, they were like the 6th defense, I think, in the league. So hopefully we get that kind of turnaround again. So we sneak into the playoffs. We do not win the division. The Saints go 12-5 and take that, but we do get in as a wild card, and we get to travel to 8-9 Seattle in the first round. We are the 5th seed. Seattle is the 4. New Orleans is the 1 seed, and Jacksonville is the 1 seed over on the other side. The defending Super Bowl champion, Las Vegas Raiders, are the 4 seed. We take down Seattle 27-24, so we get to stay alive this year, as it looks like the 7 seeds both win their games. Philadelphia gets bounced 35-24, and the Browns lose 35-24. We take down the Lions 41-35, so we will be headed to the NFC Championship game, and it looks like the defending Super Bowl champion Las Vegas Raiders have been eliminated. We lose to the Giants 28-24, and the Patriots lose to the Steelers 24-17, so it is 2 7 seeds in the Super Bowl. And finishing the season, Joe Burrow has 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Rushing-wise, Chris Carson, 208 carries, 893 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Josh Kelly, they almost split the carries evenly. 616 yards and 9 touchdowns. Wait, hold on. I saw our rookie running back that we took in like the 3rd round. What did he do? Lonnie Hamilton, 33 carries, 94 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Receiving-wise, Odell Beckham, 68 catches, 989 yards, 6 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton with 13 touchdowns. Robert Woods with 8. Ertz with 4. Carson with 2. Josh Kelly with 3. Raymond Callis, whoever the hell that is, caught 1. Dan Arnold caught 2. And Donald Parham caught 1. I did not even know he was on our team. Deion Jones leads the team in tackles with 118. What about sacks? Jonathan Greenard got 12. Shaq Barrett with 11.5. Interceptions, Casey Hayward finished the season with 6. Anthony Harris got 3. Denzel Ward got 3. Shaq Thompson got 2. Deion Jones got 2. And then Shaq Barrett, Quandre Diggs, Garyon Conley, and Blake Martinez all got 1. Leading the league in yards this year was Patrick Mahomes with 5,200 and 42 touchdowns and 17 picks. Deshaun Watson was 2nd. Trevor Lawrence was 3rd. What about touchdowns? Mahomes led the league with 42. Trey Lance with 41. Tom Brady still playing. He is now in Pittsburgh with 40 touchdowns. Interceptions, Trevor Lawrence throws 20, and I'm pretty sure he probably led the league last year because I think he threw 22. Rushing-wise, Jonathan Taylor ended up with over 2,000 yards and 19 touchdowns, but Christian McCaffrey takes the record, or not the record, but the lead in touchdowns with 22. Saquon Barkley in New Orleans had 20. Deebo Samuel, 113 catches. DJ Moore, 110. And Deontay Johnson in Green Bay with 103. Deebo Samuel had 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns. Absolutely insane. Isaiah Simmons led the league in tackles. In sacks was Aaron Donald again with 20. Interceptions, Kenny Moore II got 8. Jalen Ramsey got 7. Slay got 7. And then Adoree Jackson, Casey Hayward both got 6. And then it looks like Jimmy Ward and Marlon Humphrey both got 5. And for the 2nd year in a row, the Giants lose in the Super Bowl. This one looks a lot more entertaining than last year's, though. Brady gets his revenge against the Giants organization and hopefully will retire now that he's won another Super Bowl. I didn't look at all of the yearly awards, but there they are on the side, at least the key important ones. In case you were curious, here's the retired screen for the Steelers. So no, Tom Brady did not retire. Let's see if anyone retired for us. No. I did not set the CPU to re-sign players. I may have skipped past it. I don't think I saw anything though, but we have $138 million in cap space, and hopefully there are some actual free agents that can help us this time. And I think we got everyone, unless I'm skipping over a name that I just don't remember, but it looks like everyone has signed. All right, let's take a look at the 5th mock draft. Even though we do not have a 1st round pick, our 1st round pick, I believe, belongs to the Jets. The Dolphins have 2 1st round picks though, and they're looking to take a wide receiver and another quarterback, even though they just took a quarterback last year. EA is awesome sometimes, and I don't know really why I'm looking through this whole thing, because I usually only do it to see who we are mocked to take, and we do not have a pick. The Dolphins, with the 1st overall pick for the 2nd year in a row, will take wide receiver Melvin Rhodes out of Washington. I actually am curious to see how good he will be. I don't think I've seen a receiver get taken number 1 too much in this game. And then the Texans take quarterback TJ Payne. And just because I like to see it, just to get mad at EA, let's go take a look at the Texans roster, because I don't even know who their quarterback is. It's probably someone decent, I assume. It is Carson Wentz. Why do y'all have like 7 QBs on the roster? Okay, well, you know, that pick actually makes a ton of sense. The Falcons take left outside linebacker Joey Cheeks out of USC. The Buccaneers take wide receiver Max Nesbitt. And let's see if the Dolphins are going to burn a 2nd straight 1st round pick for the 2nd straight year on a quarterback. And of course they will. And with our 1st pick here in this draft, I'm looking at strong safety Tim Barber out of Syracuse. He has B hit power, C zone coverage. What else do we know about him? That is about it. And he is also the fastest safety in the class, so we will take Tim Barber. He has a normal dev trait, which I was kind of hoping would be a hidden dev trait. I never even went to see what the defensive tackle we drafted last year's dev trait was. In case anyone else was curious like me, he is an X Factor, so I would definitely say that trade up was 100% worth it. All right, now at the end of the 4th round, we're going to take wide receiver Nick Cruz, who has 91 speed and is 6'1", probably just going to be a depth player right now. And then here in the late 5th round, Rod Mahoney, right guard out of Utah. We know he has C impact block, C lead block, D run block, but we know he's very strong, so hopefully he can at least develop into something. And then now at the end of the 6th round, defensive tackle Dre Selvey out of Michigan. He has C finesse, D power, but B tackle. There were a couple other guys above him, but they both had F tackle and F hit power. So we're going to take Dre Selvey. And then with our last pick here in the draft, we have Davion Harris, running back out of Kansas State. We're going to take him. 86 speed, 89 acceleration, 89 change of direction. We will see how good this draft class actually is. Well, this draft class was not good. Tim Barber's a 67 overall, Nick Cruz is a 67, Rod Mahoney's a 63, Dre Selvey's a 64, and Davion Harris is a 57. That is why he fell so far in the draft, I assume. I was curious how good this receiver is. Melvin Rhodes, the rookie out of Washington, the first overall pick that was a wide receiver, 93 speed, 93 acceleration. Okay, he seems pretty good. I don't know if I would have spent like a first overall pick on him, but it looks like Joey Cheeks was the best player in the draft at a 78 overall. So I'm ready to jump into season 3, but our offensive overall is only a 75, and whenever I was looking through our depth chart, I think I found out why. And we haven't looked at this in a while. Burrow is now at 93. At running back, Chris Carson's an 86. We don't really have a fullback, but wide receiver, we have an 87 and 84, and then it massively drops. A 72, 67, 65, and 64. So I'm going to go see if I can trade for a star receiver. All right, so yet again, I've traded my 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick for the next season, but we now have wide receiver Devontae Smith, which should round out our receiving core pretty nicely. Honestly, that didn't even change our offensive overall, so is it like the O-line that's stopping that? I mean, granted, we needed to get a receiver anyway, but I don't know really what would be stopping the rating from being any higher. An 85 at left tackle, granted, our guards aren't great. A 76 and a 74, is that really holding us down that much? Well, here's hoping it doesn't affect simulation too bad, because I'm going to jump to mid-season. And for the 3rd season in a row, we are 5-2 at the midway point. This time we are leading the division, but we are actually tied with Atlanta. And at the midway point, we have the 3rd offense in the league. And let me guess, defense is low? No, they're actually 5. Could this be the season? Joe Burrow with 1,900 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions at the midway point. Rushing-wise, Carson 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Receiving-wise, Odell Beckham, 34 catches for 460 yards and 4 touchdowns. Robert Woods, 34 for 5. Devontae Smith, 30 for 3. And we make the playoffs at 13-4, and it looks like we are the 1 seed because we have a bye week. And it looks like we will be facing the Giants in our first playoff game as they take down the Seahawks 24-21. And for the 2nd year in a row, we get to go to the NFC Championship game. This year we will face Atlanta, and the Giants, for the first time in this rebuild, do not go to the Super Bowl. And we are headed to the Super Bowl to take on the Tennessee Titans. Before we simulate that game, though, we will check these stats. It looks like we had the 8th best offense in the league and the 1st ranked defense. Joe Burrow finishes with 4,400 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions on the ground. Chris Carson goes over 1,000 yards for 9 touchdowns, and Josh Kelly got 7. Receiving-wise, Odell Beckham, 71 catches for 10 touchdowns, Robert Woods, 70 for 11, and Devontae Smith leading the team in receptions, and then he had 6 touchdowns. I forgot to look at defensive stats at the midseason, but Shaq Thompson leading the team in tackles. With sacks, we have Shaq Barrett with 13, Jonathan Greenard with 10.5. Interceptions, we have Deion Jones and Denzel Ward. And then now we will go take a look at the league leaders. Jordan Love leads the league in passing yards with 5,200, almost got to 5,300. He's the only quarterback this year with over 5,000. 42 touchdowns, and that will not lead the league as Joe Burrow leads the league in touchdowns with 44. And then interceptions, Aaron Rodgers with 21. Rushing-wise, Jonathan Taylor leads the league in yards with 1,900. In touchdowns, it was Kareem Hunt with 21, Saquon Barkley with 20. Receiving-wise, A.J. Brown and Jarvis Landry both go over 1,500 yards and both have 10 touchdowns. Who led the league in touchdown receptions? That would be Deontay Harris for the Texans. Leading the league in tackles was Patrick Queen for the Eagles, and in sacks was Khalil Mack with 24, who is still in Chicago. And interceptions, Fred Warner had 8, followed by Chidobe Awuzie, is that how you say his name, with 6. And the rebuild is complete. We win the Super Bowl 36-30 over the Tennessee Titans. It looks like the MVP was Chris Carson. I was really curious about that score of 36-30, and it does look like we won in overtime, which I believe would only be the second Super Bowl to ever go into overtime now. Burrow throws for 455 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Rushing-wise, Chris Carson, 56 yards and 2 touchdowns, yet he won the MVP. Robert Woods, 9 catches, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. How was he not the MVP? Defensively, let's see what we did. Leading the team in tackles was Shaq Barrett, Shaq Thompson, and Casey Hayward. Did anyone get a sack? Jonathan Greenard got 1, and no one got a pick. Let's see, who was the Titans quarterback? And it looks like the Titans were led by quarterback Sam Darnold, who threw for 229 and 2 touchdowns. Rushing-wise, Nick Chubb, 19 for 76. And receiving-wise, Mike Evans, 6 for 93 and a touchdown, and Julio Jones, 7 for 88 and a touchdown. But that is going to wrap up this video. I gave myself 5 years after a fantasy draft to win a Super Bowl, and we managed to do it in 3, which is obviously a success. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.